Hi guys, it's Magnus here with Radio Visca. Thanks for tuning in. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about Europeans in Latin America. It's a topic that I didn't know too much about and I think is generally overlooked. So I had a bit of a quick look at Wikipedia. This will just be a brief investigation, and I don't know much about the topic, but it's sort of a video just to get started. So here we have the statistics in terms of numbers from the white Latin America Wikipedia page. That's absolute numbers, so not percentages. And obviously Brazil, being the largest country, is at the top. Now, I take all of these numbers with a grain of salt, as you will see in a second, because the statistics vary widely. There's another page on demographics in Latin America, and it has a whole bunch of different tables on it. And I've sort of just screenshotted the countries with majority, or according to Wikipedia, majority European population. Now, Saint Pierre and Miquelon here, that's I don't know why they count that as Latin America. That's an island off Canada, which belongs to France. Literally, it's part of France. Uses the euro. I suppose France is a Latin country, but yeah, I think that's stupid to include that. But as you can see, the numbers are quite bizarre, especially for Argentina, because it just leaves out large groups. So there's a different survey here called the Latino Barometro. That just asks who individuals consider themselves belonging to which group. So I wouldn't put too much faith in this kind of survey either. But according to that, Uruguay is the most European country in South America, followed by Argentina. I'm pretty sure Paraguay would be in there as well, but I guess it's just not part of the survey. And Chile probably is above the sort of 40% as well. Whereas Costa Rica, I'm highly dubious of. And we'll get into why these numbers are a bit weird. Here's another one. This is a professor from Mexico who did a non-genetic estimate. So again, this is really just identity. As you may know, in South America, there was a sort of policy called blanqueamiento, I believe, where the slaveholders sort of were worried about, being, I guess, attacked by the overwhelming majority slave population. And so they actually encouraged miscegenation, and they encouraged European immigration to change that balance in those early colonies. So I would hesitate to believe these numbers. If you were to do a genetics test, I think you'd find more mestizo people than it says there. This is another table based on just random sources. Surveys, census. As you can see, the majority of South American countries are not majority white. This would include, Peru, Venezuela, Colombia, and Guatemala, most of Central America, Bolivia, etc. But I think what you do sort of gain from these tables is this understanding that, well, okay, it looks like Uruguay, Argentina, Paraguay, and then to some degree Cuba and Costa Rica seem to still be majority European countries. That's all the information I could find on Wikipedia. If anyone out there, is from South America and has any comments on the history of the whole matter, I do realize that it's quite a sort of complicated history in South America, and I might do another video on this later on. There was a sort of caste system, I think they called it casta, when they literally, categorized people based on their ancestry, and this could go several generations back. It could be sort of your grandmother was American, but you're American Indian, but your grandfather was African, and then you had a mixed father, and that would actually get you a separate term, sort of like mestizo or mulatto or Espanol or I think some of the other ones. They even had a term for 100% Europeans who were born in South America, not born in Europe, which I believe was Creole or something like that. So the sort of reason I decided to make this video is because I think South America has probably the longest history of sort of this racial mixing and racial politics and sort of slavery versus immigration versus these sort of miscegenation policies like blanqueamiento. And just wanted to add to all of this that, I can already see the butthurt comments and the sort of accusations. So just to sort of some background, the reality is, that the prevailing narrative is just pro multiculturalism, pro, flattening of all cultures and races. And I think South America is a very interesting case study in that that's a continent that where all of this has been sort of going on for several hundred years already, where sort of multiculturalism per se, and then the sort of mixing of family structures and cultures and races, and the sort of politics that go around that come with that, and the history that comes with that. Obviously often driven by conquest and slavery. Other reasons for it. I mean, it's just, for me, I think, a very interesting case study that's worth studying. And I think it's also worth maybe looking at the negative effects of this. So I think nobody in Brazil, would claim that there's only positive effects if they, for example, visited Poland recently, and then they return to Brazil and see their situation in Brazil. Nobody in Brazil, I think, would claim there's only positive effects to this multiculturalism and this sort of brave new society. And I believe that certainly the Africans in Brazil would also state the same. They might visit Nigeria, or they might think of the history of, why they actually were sent to South America. And they will most definitely also not only see positives to, how things have come to be the way they are in Brazil. So I think the question of multiculturalism, of, migration, of miscegenation even, of all of these sort of modern dogmas is much more complicated than the discourse in, polite society today, politically correct media allows for. And at the same time, I think the more you read about South America, the more you realize that, these policies overwhelmingly damaged Native American communities, obviously damaged slaves, and that this is lionizing of multiculturalism and miscegenation might be cover for some more sinister imperialistic, capitalistic, policies behind it that maybe aren't that good for anyone, or are only good for a certain elite. So I just wanted to add that, just to head off some of the politically correct posturing that I imagine